Aloha, I'm Sabrina with Begin Being, and in today's video, we're going to be talking about the 3 ways to ground. So I made a video last time, and I was talking about how I'm here in LA, and the energy here is a lot different than some of the energies that I am used to. So I teach Huna, which is an ancient Hawaiian energy practice, and I'm a Reiki master. Like, I'm very, very connected to nature, and I'm connected to energy. And one of the things that I was noticing some of the times while being here in LA and being like in a box, and there's a whole box story from the previous video, and it kind of relates to, like you're born in a box called a hospital, and then you go immediately to a box called a home, and then elementary school is a box, high school, going on up, either college or work, they're all boxes. And so we spend a lot of our times going from one box, or like our home, to our car, another box, to or maybe our job, another box. Or maybe we stay home all day and work from that box. So lots of different ways of being in boxes. The stores, they're all indoors and everything. And so I was talking a lot about how I really felt the need to connect with nature, because at home and other places that I stay, often there's at home I have a backyard with big trees and ground, like grass and grounding areas. And sometimes when we are somewhere where there's just a ton of cement, there's a ton of external energy from other people's energy, just a whole bunch of people in one place, just feeling all of them. Sometimes we can get a little disconnected from nature. We can get disconnected from earth, and it kind of leads to being disconnected from ourselves. So along with all of that, like I said, there's kind of this disconnecting, and we can sometimes start to feel a little bit ungrounded, a little bit, there's almost an energy of I need to go somewhere, I need to do something. There's almost this, not necessarily nervous energy, but there's just this energy of needing to move, getting some movement. And so I decided to do a couple of videos in relation to this, and the one that I did last time, I posted last week, which I'll post the link below. But it was all about connecting with nature, and it was about things that you can do to lower depression and increase your happiness. And in that video, I mentioned some of the stuff that I'm going to be talking about in this video. And a lot of it has to do with really reconnecting with yourself, with Mother Nature, and with all of the energy that is around us. So the number one thing that you can do to ground is to be able to just put your feet in the earth. And it's so simple, it's so easy to do. All you really need is, earth. So you need some sort of ground. The more ground, the better. So for example, if you just have a little patch of ground, you may be outside an apartment or something like that, that's awesome, and that's wonderful if you just want to ground before bed, or maybe first thing in the morning, or not first thing in the morning, but you kind of want, after you're getting up a little bit, maybe go do that. And if you can, though, if you can go to a place where there's a lot more nature, there's trees and stuff like that, it's going to be an even better grounding experience for you, especially if you can get out and walk in it. So the number one, the first thing that you can do to ground is to be able to just put your feet on the ground. And I'm going to tell you a little story. So there's a ton of research on this, and there's this article written about this woman who, she was, starting the phase of her life of menopause and stuff like that. And she said her husband and her had to sleep on opposite ends of the king bed. And, she just did not want to be sleeping next to him, because her hot flashes, he was warm and her hot flashes would just come on and they would be too much. And she also said her feet were just, it was awful. So she had these hot, itchy rashes on her feet and on the bottoms of her feet that she started developing through all of this. And it became so severe. She started putting all these topical creams on it. She started trying to change her diet, and nothing was helping. And her shoes became so uncomfortable that she ended up wearing moccasins. And the moccasins, what they do is, any kind of leather soled shoe, when you're walking on the ground, it will actually allow you to absorb like things like the negative ions that are in the ground. And I'll talk more about that in a moment. But things like are the negative ions that are in the ground, and the Earth's electromagnetic field is able to come into your bioelectromagnetic field. So you're able to really connect in a deeper way to the earth and to your environment and to yourself. And that's exactly what she did. So she started wearing the moccasins, and she was like, this is not the look I want. Like, she was not into the whole like moccasin look. And so it was hard for her to kind of go with that. And she said, but it was totally worth it, because in 1 week, her rashes, her itchy, like horrible hot rash on her feet disappeared. After 2 weeks, her hot flashes were gone. So this is just one story that you can, read about. I'll put the link in the description below, but this is one story that you can, learn about. There's plenty of others of all of the different benefits. There's been many studies of the benefits of just being able to connect your feet and the ground together. And there's been so many studies about it, and now there's like books about it and everything, that there's actually a term for it called earthing. And there is a book that I highly recommend. I will put it in the description below. I'll put a little picture here maybe. But it's an earthing book, and it talks about all of the different benefits of earthing and being able to like put your feet on the ground. And again, wearing like a leather or a natural sole shoe helps you to be able to feel the natural connection with the earth. Same thing as being like a barefoot. I recommend being barefoot, and if you're in an area where there's like rocks or sticks or something, definitely you can wear like the natural leather soled shoe. But basically, because it's permeable, it allows everything to still be absorbed up into your body, versus wearing a rubber soled shoe. It blocks all of that. So when you're out grounding with your feet in the ground on the earth, you definitely want to either be barefoot or wearing one of those natural like soled shoes, like a moccasin or something like that. And there's also different, like there's earth runners and different earthing type shoes that you can get as well. But all you're basically doing is following what our ancestors have been doing for like a millennia. And what can happen is that's going to bring you stuff like reduced inflammation, improved circulation, better moods, and sounder sleep. So all of those different things can be improved when you're grounding. Now, the second way that you can ground is through using devices like grounding mats or stuff like taking sea salt. And interestingly, one of my clients gave me one of the grounding mattress pads. So you like put it over your mattress while you sleep, and it provides that, it's almost like sleeping on the earth. It provides like a similar energy to being able to sleep on the earth. And one of the things that I mentioned before is better sleep. After using it, and I didn't really notice it at first, like I didn't realize it was happening. And there were times when like I would have trouble falling asleep by myself, if I was alone falling asleep by myself. And so when I'm at home, I was like, sometimes like I would do different techniques to try and help myself to fall asleep. And then after getting that mat, a little bit later, I realized, wow, I'm not having to do any techniques or anything. Like I'm just falling asleep. And then it kind of like, it clicked. It like put two and two together. And I was like, oh my goodness, this started happening after I started using that mattress pad. Now, the interesting thing is I travel a lot for work. So like I said, I teach Huna, and I also teach NLP, Neurolinguistic programming. So I teach those throughout the country. And so I'm traveling a lot. And what I also found, I started to notice after a little bit, and then I was like, wait a minute, not only am I sleeping well when I'm on the mattress pad, the grounding mattress pad at home, it's almost as if it's translated to just me being able to sleep better in general. Because now, even when I'm traveling, most of the time I just fall asleep and don't have to do any of the techniques that I used to do to be able to fall asleep. So very interesting result from something like that I totally didn't expect. I didn't expect it to translate to other places, to other beds that didn't have the mat. So super fun experiment with that, accidental experiment, I guess you could say. And another, like, it's not exactly a device, but another thing that you can use to ground is sea salt. So I'm always traveling with sea salt. I talked about this in another video about the importance of eating healthy sea salt versus like table salt and stuff like that. And it's something that I actually create, like this drink that's really good for metabolism, like weight loss and everything like that. It's like this lemon water drink that I have, that I didn't make it up, but I made a video about it. And so I'm always traveling. I'll show you. So I'm always traveling with sea salt. In fact, in my purse, I have 2 different containers. So this container it's just Hawaiian, like homemade sea salt that you can actually make like on the rocks. And so this is just a little container of homemade sea salt, and you just take like a little pinch of it, just a small pinch, and you put it under your tongue. You can do a little bit of a breathing, like a little bit of breath work with it too. Nothing, super long or fancy, but you can take a few, what we call in Huna, like ha breath. So just like a light breath in through your nose, and then like a kind of sound out through your mouth. And then so 1-to-2 ratio. So you're breathing in through your nose on a count of 1, breathing out through your nose on a count of 2. And for you, the breathing might be a count of 2 and 4, but just, basically it's like a 1-to-2 type ratio. So you can do a few of those hot breaths, take the sea salt, and have that like grounding feeling. And I also travel with real salt as well. This I will like put on my food just to get the benefits of natural sea salt. Again, whole video on that, but this is another way that you can ground, really easy and fast way to ground if you're feeling a little bit ungrounded throughout your day. And why like all of this works, there's a few different things going on. So for one, the earth has negative ions in it that is absorbed, like especially like after a rain. Water has a lot of negative ions, and I'm saying the word negative, and a lot of people think, oh no, negative, that's bad. Negative ions are actually really good for you. They're very healthy for you. So spending time out at the ocean, spending time in nature, like walking on the ground, is a really good way to absorb those negative ions. And the other thing that's happening is that the earth has a giant electromagnetic field around it. This is not woo-woo. This is actually proven very much in science. It's actually the reason why, like when there's solar flares, for example, if we did not have that electromagnetic field, we would be more closer to Mars. Like it really protects us against the solar flares from like hitting the earth and like blasting away our atmosphere. So it's extremely important that the earth has this. It would be hard for life to exist without the earth electromagnetic field. And it's also the reason why sometimes like when there's massive solar flares, like our electronics get a little bit wonky, like cell service is weird and stuff like that. It's because it's like almost like too much for the field, and it's kind of like getting through. So what science has also proven now is that humans, we have our own bioelectromagnetic field around us. So what different psychologists and other health professionals, what they have found is that your bioelectromagnetic field that's around you is connecting to and communicating with the Earth's the Earth's electromagnetic field. And what they found from a scientific standpoint is that when our fields are connecting, like when our electromagnetic field is connecting with the Earth's field, that we can actually reduce pain and fatigue, and then we can increase our energy and our communication with the Earth. So our bodies actually have a natural want and natural need to be able to communicate with the Earth, because they're finding more and more the Earth is its own energetic being. Trees are alive, your plants and everything, like they're all alive. And when we're more connected, our energy increases and our happiness increases. And so, for example, there was a study they tracked people's cortisol levels, and it was like before and after sleeping on the grounding mattress pads. And so they did a study to where like some people were just given like a fake one, like it wasn't actually real. And then the other group was given a mattress pad that was actually a real grounding mattress pad, connected and everything. And they were measuring their cortisol levels over that 8-week period. And what they found was over that 8-week period, the ones who were actually connected to the mattress pad, their cortisol rhythm started to balance out. And so it indicated like there was stress relief, better sleep, they fell asleep faster. and they experienced less anxiety and less depression, and they felt more energy. And like I said earlier in the video, it also helped with the woman's hot flashes. So the hot flashes decreased as well. There was another study that was done with men who like work out a lot. And so there was this workout study where they had like both groups of men were working out, and they had one group of men experience the real grounding pads and another group experience like the fake grounding pads. And what they found was like both groups were equally sore, you know, from the workout and everything. But the group who used the pads, like the grounding techniques, they had less inflammation, a speedier recovery, and a stronger immune system. So using that grounding energy, you're able to have like these differences of, you know, like that better sleep and reduced stress, and being able to feel like feeling happy. And there's other things going on with like the depression and stuff like that, which is a lot to do with being out in nature. So if you are not able to get to nature, definitely use some of the grounding, use the mattress, or use like the pads. There's different, it doesn't have to be a mattress pad. There's like smaller ones. I have one like for my meditation cushion area. So you can get smaller ones as well. And if you can, get outside in nature if that's available to you. And if not, you know, maybe you're working in an office, put like one of the smaller pads, like put it in your office chair, or, you know, perhaps sleep with it at night. Do different things to be able to get that energy so you're benefiting too. And the third way to ground is energetically. So you can do like a grounding meditation, and this works inside and outside. Of course, outside, like I was saying earlier, is always going to be my preferable way. It's always going to be the best way to get even more benefits, even just being outside in the sun and like absorbing the vitamin D that's going into your skin and into your body from the sun. So absolutely, I highly recommend being outdoors. And maybe it's a rainy day. Maybe you live in an area where it's like freezing cold and there's snow outside. So maybe going outside for you is not the best option in the moment. Or perhaps you're just having a really rough day at work and you want to just like go in the bathroom for a second. Or if you have an office, like close the office door for a moment. And you can energetically ground as well. So the way you energetically ground, and since I've been here and feeling all of this nature energy, it's like you need to do a grounding meditation. I'm like, okay. So I'll do a grounding meditation after this as well. Don't know when that will be posted, but we'll figure that out. So, but basically what you want to do is, I talked about in the last video about like connecting to trees. And one of the things in there is I talked about how to like ground connecting with the tree. You can do this like with or without the tree. If you have a tree available, totally awesome. If not, like I said, you can be in your office, you can be in your house, even like in a bathroom if necessary. That's the only place you can go. But what you're going to do is you're going to close your eyes and you're going to go into a meditative state. And a good thing to do is start out with some Ha breathing. So you'll breathe in through your nose and breathe out through your mouth with the sound of and again, it's that 1-to-2 ratio, making the out breath longer than the in breath. So you can do a few of those. Again, if you're maybe at your office or something, you want to do your as quietly as possible. And you can still do some little bit of breathing to kind of get you into that meditative state. And then with the faculty of your imagination, what you want to do is just imagine that you are kind of like a tree. So imagine, just like picture yourself as a tree and picture that you have roots going from the bottoms of your feet like down into the ground. So you're just going to imagine that you have the roots going down into the ground, and you're going to feel them go deeper and deeper into the ground. And trees, most of the time the roots don't go just down, they grow out as well. So you'll imagine them growing out. And for the height, you want to do it just basically about the same height as your own body. So you'll have your roots go down just with your imagination. When it feels right, like, oh, okay, that's my height. And just kind of spread them out a little bit. And then you have those nice roots. Now, again, with your imagination, you're just going to imagine that you're absorbing all of the energy from the earth. You're just taking up the energy from the earth and you're bringing it up all through those roots and into the soles of your feet. And then you'll move it up your body. So you'll move it to your ankles, your calves, your knees, your thighs, and up to your hip bones. So it's basically up to like your root chakra. So it's like a little bit below your hips, but like right about here. But you can just think of it as going right about to, your root chakra. And you're going to just kind of like hold it there. So you'll hold it there and you will connect. If you can be standing, it's always a cool experiment if you're standing, because if you're standing, you can kind of feel like if you try to like sway a little bit, you can kind of feel it's harder. And if you want to test it, a fun thing to do is before you ground, like kind of move your body like this a little bit. It's a fun little test to do. And you'll note, like, see, I kind of like fell forward a little bit. You'll notice that you're a lot more wobbly before you ground. And then you'll notice after you ground, you'll notice like a steadiness, like a sturdiness. It's almost as if like a tree, you can push really hard against it and maybe its leaves will shake, but it's not going anywhere. So you'll feel that strength within you. And a bonus to this isn't necessarily grounding, but a bonus to this is you can kind of feel any spots in your own energetic field, like inside of your body, that might feel a little wonky, like maybe your shoulder's a little bit sore today, maybe you've been typing a lot, so your wrist feel kind of like, eh. Well, what you can do is you can just, once you bring in that grounding energy and you're totally connected, you can kind of like feel like, okay, check in with my body. Is there anything that feels like it's no longer serving me? It feels like, I kind of want to like get rid of this. And it doesn't necessarily have to be physical. It could be just an emotion maybe you feel in your body. It could be something like, something going on in your head that like you've been like a thought that you've been thinking about that you don't necessarily want to be thinking about. And you can just say, okay, whatever's not serving me, let's go ahead and release it. And what you can do with your imagination, wherever it is in your body, with your imagination, you can just imagine it kind of going down your body, down to your root chakra, down your legs, down your feet, and out into the earth, and allow the earth to just absorb it and release it for you. And then once that has happened, there's different things you can do. You can just simply like release the roots, or you can like suck them back up into your body. And basically by the end of that, you will feel a lot more grounded and more connected. Like I said, even if you're not out in nature, I do recommend if it's like your first time or if you're new, it is a whole lot easier if you can be out in nature. If you can find a tree to, hold on to, because you'll be able to kind of, it's a very grounding part of nature. It's a very grounding plant, if you will. And so if you can find a tree and be able to hold it, I talk more about this in the other video as well. It's talking more about trees and nature and stuff like that. I'll put in the link below. So if you can find, and the video is talking about increasing happiness and decreasing depression. So that's the title of the video, or similar to that. But if you can find this tree out in nature, definitely, it doesn't have to be one this size. It can even be a small tree. It can be a plant. Then if you can also put your feet in the ground as well, so without shoes, stuff like that. So you can do multiple grounding at once. So if you have some sea salt with you, if you can do barefoot, maybe you have some moccasins, you can do all three. So you can go out, you can take your sea salt, you can put your feet directly in the ground, and you can do that grounding exercise. And like I said, I'll make a guided meditation. So if this is your first time, I'll release that. You can look for that video. If the video is already out, it'll be in the link below. So you can just click on that, and then you can be able to have a guided meditation for grounding and practicing this type of energy. So wrapping up, just a couple more things. Grounding can also encourage like mindfulness, and it can be used with deep breathing and meditation. So you can combine all of them. You can do some deep breathing, you can do some meditation. While you're doing your meditation, you can ground, and you can get lots of benefits from like sharpening your immune system, lowering blood pressure, and all of those good things. So you can do a bunch of stuff all at once. I'm all about like combining things. I'm about, if I want to do, so for example, one of the reasons why I love hot yoga, and a lot of people, they're like, oh, hot yoga, are you serious? Like, I can't stand it. Here's the secret though. When you're doing hot yoga, you're getting so many things. It's like you're doing multiple things at once. So, and part of it doesn't work when you're still new at yoga. You have to kind of know the poses a little bit, get out of your conscious mind. So once you're out of your conscious mind doing yoga, this totally works. So what happens is, especially if you're doing like a yin yoga, it's like a more of a meditation type slow yoga. This doesn't work quite as well. But if you're doing more of like a yang yoga, where you're doing a lot of more of like a workout type yoga, then what's happening is you're getting your workout in, because you're doing lots of like push-up like things, your movements, you're doing a lot of things that activate your leg muscles and all sorts of things. So if you're doing that style of yoga, then you're going to get a workout in. So that's one benefit. You're also going to be stretching your body, another benefit. And then, like I said, once you kind of go unconscious with the moves, the third benefit is the meditation. And then the fourth benefit, if you do hot yoga, which is why I love it more than the other styles, is because you're also getting the sauna. So you're releasing a bunch of toxins through sweating. So it's like a whole bunch of stuff in one. So in my last video, I talked about combining some things and doing everything at once. And this video, I guess I'm doing it again. You can do everything at once as well. Go ahead and take off those shoes, take that sea salt, and then do the energetic grounding meditation. All right, well, thanks for watching. I appreciate you guys. And if you're watching this around New Year's time in America anyway, Happy New Year. And actually, I'm probably going to release this way after New Year. So, but anyway, happy 2024. All right. Remember, always choose love in everything that you do. Mahalo.